You know those 24-hour lo-fi music videos which are always live? You've probably seen them before even if you never clicked on it. It usually has an animated drawing that loops playing lo-fi music that is meant to help you focus. I had been using these channels for a long time because silence always distracted me. But having my normal music play in the background would also cause me to get distracted, as I would find myself starting to sing along to the lyrics. Lo-fi found a healthy balance between the two. It was interesting sounding enough to keep my brain engaged, but not so much that it would stop me from working. During quarantine, things became extremely lonely and I would find many ways to distract myself from my thoughts. Though I had friends to talk to, I missed meeting new people. One night, I was sitting at my desk drawing with lo-fi music playing in the background. I noticed that next to the YouTube video was a live chat. Now, this at first didn't surprise me as every live video has a live chat. But what caught my attention was that the chat was actually talking. I was curious because I didn't see the purpose in typing on one of these chats. Seeing as it was just lo-fi music, there wouldn't be much to comment on. Now completely distracted, I looked up at the screen to find that many people in the chat were actually talking to each other. Intrigued by this, I began to read some of the comments. I felt a little awkward reading their chats because it felt as though I was intruding on something I wasn't supposed to see. For a while I just watched people talk, and there never really seemed to be a moment where I could jump in and talk. That was until a user by the name of Arrow33 just commented, "Hi." I realized I probably could have done this to begin with. Since it seemed other people were ignoring the comment, I decided to take the chance to reply to them, responding with a simple, "Hi." I was surprised to see them respond back immediately with, "How are you?" After that, I began chatting more with more people on the chat and found myself coming back every day around the same hour to chat with this newfound community. I had never done anything like this before, and after chatting for a while, it starts to feel as though you're only talking with them and no one else is watching. We would sometimes joke when someone was lurking. I think some did it to see if people were talking badly about them. But overall, the community was really a kind and amazing place. I talked the most with Arrow33. We talked about a bunch of random things and I was finally happy again to have new people to talk to, even about the most trivial things. I didn't realize how personal things got until it was too late. One late night we were all chatting and I think Arrow33 was the one who started to ask things about whether or not we have ever attempted something bad, or if we were in an okay mental state. People began sharing immediately and so openly I was honestly a little shocked. After all, these are still strangers on the internet, but I decided to talk more about myself. The questions became more personalized and targeted towards me, asking questions about my personal life, how my childhood was growing up. The more questions asked, the more I began to open up while still being somewhat evasive. It got to a point where the questions were getting very uncomfortable and people were confessing their deepest confessions. I won't go into detail about the sorts of things that were discussed, but I can say that night took a pretty dark turn. More people logged off from our group and eventually it was a few lurkers, me, and Arrow33. I don't know why I stayed on, I guess I was desperate to interact with people. Arrow33 started talking to me and asking how they were sorry if the questions got a little too intense, but that they understand my struggles and wish they could be with me right now to give me a hug. They kept pushing this notion to see me, which I no longer found comforting and rather concerning. I tried to give a diplomatic answer without trying to seem rude, but also not to give anything away about my possible location, and decided to log off for the night. After that, I decided to stay away from the chat for a bit. Everything felt a bit too real, giving out personal information, everyone saying how they wanted to meet up and creating a Discord for them to talk separately on. I was very distrusting, especially on the internet, so I wanted to get away for a while. But during that time was when things around the house started getting weird. It was small at first. The front yard light and backyard light would be triggered and I would get a notification on my phone. I brushed this off because it was likely an animal or a fallen branch or something and those lights would often get triggered. But then I started seeing them around my house. They were just small letters and numbers carved in the fence around my home. They were quite tiny and the only reason I noticed them was the fact that I was gardening and happened to be sitting at eye level with one of them. It was the letter E. I kind of brushed this off thinking that it may just have been the cracks in the wood, or that the previous owner may have had a kid who happened to scratch some letters into the fence. I found more and more. 2-letter R's, A, 3, O, I, H, 3 more E's, and a 5. It seems so bizarre, but I think the more I found, the more I was convinced that it was the previous owner's kids who had done it. I continued on for the rest of the week, hearing strange sounds outside my garden. I thought they were pests. I had a bit of a problem, but I had grown more concerned because I heard them crawling around the roof or in the attic. So I decided I would call up pest control in the morning. In the meantime, I decided to rejoin the lo-fi chat, forgetting everything that had happened during the week. To my surprise, everyone was already on. This was rare to see. Usually 1 or 2 were missing, or at the very least not saying anything, but they were all on. I decided to do a bit of work and write out a couple of emails, while listening to the music before joining the lo-fi chat. As I was writing the emails, I had this growing urge to just email the previous owner asking if their kids ever drew or scratched the fences. I knew it probably seemed like an odd question to ask them, but I was curious. I sent the email thinking nothing of it. I then went on to the lo-fi chat. I was about to say hi to everyone when I noticed what they were typing. It was weird and no one was having a proper conversation. Maybe it was some sort of game? They would each type only one individual letter, alternating different letters each time so they wouldn't be banned for spamming. Because so many others were typing, it was hard to really interpret what they were doing. One just typed an A, another typed E, and then a random chat appeared. And then other people would repeat the same letters again? I didn't get this game, but they kept doing it, and I felt left out. I was about to type in the chat when an email blinked on my computer. I opened the message and to my surprise, it was the ex-owner. I didn't expect them to reply so soon. I opened the message and I heard those damn pests again scurrying along my roof. I read through the email and I could feel myself tense. I froze rereading the message over and over again. I couldn't stop.
Hey, just got your message. Does the fence have damage or something? I'm not sure exactly what you mean by scratches or drawing because I certainly didn't make any. I don't think any kids could have done it though. They can't get into the backyard and I don't have any kids. Perhaps a wild animal? I don't have any kids.
The words repeated and rang through my head over and over. If the owner didn't have kids, then where did those marks come from? And come to think of it, I had gardened in the same area so many times and never saw anything. How would I have not noticed that? Those damn pests started scratching the roof and tapping on the window trying to get in the house again. Something wasn't right. I went back to the lo-fi chat and then I saw it, the message they had all been typing out. Arrow 33 is here. Everything after that message clicked. The letters. That fourth E wasn't an E, it was a backwards 3. That 5 wasn't a 5, it was an S. Right there in front of my face all week long. Those lights turning on in the middle of the night, the scratching at the roof. I didn't dare look over to the sound. I went back to the lo-fi chat, screaming at them. What the hell is this sick prank? How did you find me? I was freaking out and that goddamn tapping wouldn't stop. And the message popped up from Arrow 33. Look. I knew exactly what they meant and I couldn't bring myself to face the truth. I turned so slowly to the window. There, perched on top of my roof where the window could see straight out, was some big shadowy figure sitting there. And all I could see was that pale face with sunken eyes and that grin. That awful grin pressed up against the glass. Just seeing the face sent me into complete panic mode and I screamed until nothing but a simple wheeze came out. I ran out of my room, I locked myself in the bathroom and I called 911. I spoke to the operator and gave them my address. They told me the police would be there in 5 minutes. I anxiously waited. Then I heard the window glass smash open and I heard their loud footsteps stomp across. I was crying, muffling the sound with my hand, praying for them to go away. But then I heard that sound, the sound of the shower curtain slowly opening behind me. There I saw a bony and skinny hand pulling back to reveal one of the tallest people that I'd ever seen. Deathly thin. They wore a hooded cloak like some sort of cult. I tried to scream but I couldn't. I heard the footsteps getting closer and the shower curtain opening. I jumped up, swung the door open, hoping I would hit whoever the hell was coming, and dashed out the front door. As I did, I swear I saw more people emerge from behind the furniture. As I sprinted out the door, I was met with flashing blue and red lights and the sweet sound of sirens. I practically jumped into the officers and hid behind them. After they had searched everything, it seemed they somehow got away. I couldn't believe I'd escaped. How long had they been in my house, and how long had they watched me for? I don't know what they would have done if they had actually caught me, but whatever they had planned, I'm just glad that they couldn't do anything about it. I moved houses after that. I couldn't live there anymore. Police say it was likely a cult of some kind, finding vulnerable people online. I don't know what they had planned, I just know that I will never talk
On a lo-fi chat ever again.